Fun fact about me, I like weird shit. That includes games like Disillusion and Humaniki, stuff that is almost incomprehensible but stylistically looks very cool. ENA checks all those boxes. A YouTube series created by Joel Guerra where we follow ENA through this 2000s-esque digital world, and to put it slightly, it's... quite something. There are 4 episodes at the moment of this video, and also a sequel, a game that released its first chapter free on Steam that I really love and will make a video. But first, let's go over the series. The episode starts and we already see the acid trip we are going to get ourselves into. Pixelated 3D moon spins around in the background, tombstones populate the ground, and these things are actually characters. They speak and they are here for the auction. And talking about characters, we also see our first major character of this series, Mooney, ENA's friend. I'm not sure, but her design might be alluding to the moon of the movie, A Trip to the Moon. Nonetheless, alongside her we also see our protagonist, ENA, doing a reference to the music video Once in a Lifetime by Talking Heads.
Ah, auction day. These are the utmost grand of days. This is going to be so
awful. I think this is going to be the worst day of my life.
ENA is this two-faced specimen inspired by The Girl in Front of the Mirror by Pablo Picasso and the paintings of Romero Brito. The yellow face represents happiness, while the blue one is sadness. But wait, she also has sadness too. The two friends are apparently late for the auction, that is already bursting with people waiting for it to begin. The auctioneer, with a sick design, let's be real, appears announcing the product that's going to be up for auction. A dog in an hourglass? Let's go! The characters rightfully get very excited to get their greedy hands on the dog. Unfortunately, a rain rock starts that causes the auction to get cancelled. However, not before ENA vomits, and with the starting sound of the PS1, the 3D dog spawns. The episode starts with ENA asking to see Mooney to this Windows 95 looking ass thing. She states that her exterior does not match the community standards, requiring a blood sample.
Oh, I felt woundness in that sentence, so... What now? Are you gonna shoot me or something? Come on, do it!
With ENA's incredible skills of being fucking annoying, he lets her in the party. Entering the place, we are greeted by an infinite hall of corridors, looking very similar to liminal spaces like the backrooms, as well as a change of presentation style. It now feels like we are playing a dungeon crawler. Perhaps a reference to Dream Emulator, or more likely, the game 3D Maze from the Windows 95 that would match the Guardian we saw earlier. Walking a bit through the mysterious halls, we meet Mercy? A character design inspired by mimes and the Korean traditional masks, Hao et al., and she also speaks Korean.
지금 어디 가는 거야?
They seem to know each other already, and Mercy seems pretty happy to see ENA, and promptly gives her some directions to help her find their objective. That is what I would say if all that wasn't fake news! The official subtitles are not translating what she actually says. In reality, Mercy says something more on the lines of, "Wait, ENA? Where are you going? You're not supposed to be here. Get out of here before I kick your ass." You stubborn fuck. Just run away and don't accept anything from people around here. Yeah, very different from the first translation. She's very surprised that we got there and is very worried about ENA, going on to tell her to get out of there as soon as possible. Though we still haven't even found Mooney, so we can't leave empty-handed. Continuing to traverse the maze, we meet the Rubik's Cube that is really pissed and wants to be left alone, as well as Robert. Robert is inspired by Hiroshi Uchiyamada from the anime and manga Great Teacher Onizuka. He speaks Japanese and tells us some directions to meet our friend, along with a warning to be careful because things can get dangerous from that point on. However, with my Nihongo Jozo skills, I know for a fact that all that was fake. What he actually says is more like, "Oh, young miss, what are you doing here? Please forget about your friends. Things happening in these corridors are too shameful for words. My only hope is that you leave this place before being polluted by our sins." Okay, now this is starting to get unsettling. Not just Merci, but now Robert warning ENA about this place. What exactly is happening on that place? Why is it so dangerous? Well, for now we don't know anything more, so our only way for now is forward. Finally, after going through some kind of green smog, we find Mooney at last, now without that cube in her face. And ENA is, well, see for yourself.
Can't you say anything that makes sense? Like, please believe.
Was this caused due to the scenes of that place, like Robert said? Or just ENA being quirky? On the credits, these new forms are called Drunk ENA, Demon ENA, and Diablo ENA. The thing is, the other emotions are easy to understand. Happy, sad, and an enhanced version of sadness which goes to depression. So is this referencing that the key to achieve the ultimate happiness is getting shitless drunk? I can get behind that. Cheers! Just kidding, but I do think that the Demon and Diablo versions come as a side effect of being in a drunken state, because of how unpredictable and unstable emotions one can get while being drunk. Why does it go from happy to drunk? I don't know. Also, the animation and pose ENA does while drunk is a reference to Jackie Chan on the movie The Drunken Master. Cool. She then proceeds to give Mooney a gift that at first glance seems like nothing, but turns out Mooney was the gift.
Oh, no way! Whoa! Dude! I'm the gift!
With that, ending the episode. This is the longest episode of the series and also my favorite. It is shown to us the place we are currently, a desolate area filled with these mannequins, husks without soul, just thrown in there. Mooney is here too, with an arm sticking out of what previously was a hole. She's showing off her crazy skate abilities, and ENA is quite uncomfortable being there as a consequence of, in her words, being allergic to people. Mooney proceeds to ignore and interrupt ENA to do a bet. Whoever can reach the top of the Great Runas first must pay the other person's debt.
I just had the bestest idea. We'll make a bet. Whoever reaches the top of the Great Runas and makes their wish first has to pay the debts of the loser.
Pay your debts? That sounds awful.
Yeah, but it's a proper punishment. You hear that? No way! The Great Runas is here! The bet's on! Now let's get him!
Hold and behold, the Great Runas appears! He is this monumental entity who can grant a wish to whoever is able to reach him. This gives us an explanation as to why there is so many people there. His design is heavily inspired by the works of... I'm not even going to try. Another interesting thing here is a new ENA emotion. From the depression and helplessness, the only thing she can do is remove her face and scream by herself. Her colors change to this more dark grayish color. No slight sign of anything else in her mind than desperation. Anyway, along the way to the Great Runas we meet various people, like the Brick Frog, inspired by the 1999 PlayStation game Vib Ribbon, who beats the depression out of ENA, literally.
I suppose you're here to save the youth.
Nice weather. What conspiracies are we cooking on the menu today?
We also meet the Merchant, my absolute favorite character, who might be a mixed reference to the Juggler demo, an animation to show off the capabilities of the Amiga 1000. And the masks worn during the Capacola. He also gives us a Turon.
Turon! Turon? Turon? Turon! 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 Turon!
Lastly, I want to mention the Shepherd. She's a minor character we meet on our quest to reach the Great Runas, but she says something pretty interesting, so let me theorize here a bit. When we first approach the Shepherd, she says this. So, we are not the only ENA. We also got treated very differently on episode 2 by the Guardians, saying we do not meet the standards. ENA might not be a single person, but perhaps a race. Yes, I'm foreshadowing some stuff for the next video about the game. Also, thanks to the Turon, the Shepherd lets us go to the next area. After meeting a bunch of other quirky characters that honestly don't add anything for me to talk about, ENA finally reaches the Great Runas.
Boo! Give me your lunch money.
And ENA lost the race. Although it's never revealed what path Mooney took to get there, we can see that she met with the Shepherd too, because now she has the Shepherd's cane stuck on her hole. For the wishes?
I'm not telling you. You were going to make fun of me.
Cheese and rice, Mooney!
Yeah, she wished to be thinner. Even ENA is astonished by the transformation, which is pretty funny honestly. ENA is more tricky to understand. If you pay attention throughout the last minutes of the episode, the blue side of her starts to fade to yellow, until the sad side is completely gone, and only yellow happiness remains. I'm going to leave this information here and come back later for now, until I go to the theories and my conclusion of it all. Despite that, this is the last scene, an episode of the first season. Oh, but I thought you said there were 4 episodes, where's the 4th one, you might ask? As for that, yes, there is another, but it's not exactly the 4th episode of the first season, but more of a prequel. According to Rowan 404, the 4th episode is a prequel. I myself agree to that. ENA's design in this episode is different too to elevate that feeling. She doesn't have that line in the middle anymore. Supposedly, when the designer of the model took notice of the quote error and tried to fix it, Joel said to leave it, giving us a kind of canon way to situate ourselves in the timeline, because honestly, if we take this episode as a prequel, a lot of things will make more sense. So, without further ado, let's get to the actual episode.
I'm unsure how much truth this has, but it appears all of this has something to do with the concept of
Fun! May I see it, please?
Our story starts with ENA ringing a door and screams of Mooney saying run echo in the background. ENA is shown holding a smiling blue mask. Entering a mansion, we get a complete change of style, giving this top-down RPG kind of vibe.
Excuse my noise. Could you be so generous as to sing me towards the fun?
Oh, no. I absolutely am. I don't know about you, but I sure can smell it.
Different from any episode we've seen so far where ENA goes in a very random quest for something with a bunch of internet and cultural references thrown in there, the story here focuses exclusively on ENA and her search for fun. Ivy the Bunny gave us a map of the theater acts that we should go for. So, let the show begin! Act 1. Display. Focus on connections with infinite strands of joy entangled, commuting with each other. However, this definition does not quite seem to affect ENA.
Connections and bonds that are meant to transmit cheerfulness. And even so, I don't recognize this strain of joy.
Act 2. Rising. Tubes with masks flow endlessly. The blue mask seems to enjoy the rhythm, but ENA...
But wait, these twists and turns are getting odd. Or am I the one the rhythm can't catch? This notion of happiness is quite strange.
Act 3 and 4. Crescendo of a descent. After traversing a dark void, we meet with these two shadow specimens that tell ENA that her mission is to play a role and bring happiness to the audience. After all, there's no happiness with no action. Bring joy to others so those can bring joy to you too. Unfortunately, this perspective doesn't stick with ENA again.
Though I feel the gratification of the audience, I can't sense any change in me. Hey, how could a chore like this jollify someone anywho?
Because it's a joy. You still don't understand.
So, the last and final act starts, named Therapy.
You have been coming here persistently, over and over. And the truth is, though, you will never find fun in this place.
As stated by the therapist, ENA has been coming to the theater over and over, trying to find fun, but to no avail. All those perspectives of fun might work for others, however, everyone is their own individual. In consequence of that, the therapist says this.
Fun is quite the elusive varmint, isn't it? But remember, it is never lost forever. Often, the greatest fun can be found in the little moments.
Like, how little they are?
You need not return here anymore. This is your resolution.
Upon getting a resolution, we are brought back to the mansion entrance, where Mooney and... Who the fuck is that?
What?
Okay, anyway, ENA, Mooney and the random thing were doing ring and run, and that's why the episode started with ENA ringing a doorbell and Mooney screaming to ENA to run, but we ended up entering the place and doing all that we saw before. This episode is very weird compared to the others in the series, like I said before. It centers way more on ENA and her character than anything else. We see her always hide her insecurities, her sadness behind that mask that pretends to be happy. It even drags her body across all those rooms, frantically trying to be like the others, trying to taste and glimpse what others feel, trying to escape reality. Nevertheless, amidst the conversation with the therapist, she breaks her mask, snapping back to how she really feels. Also turning into the ENA we know from the other episodes. This resolution of trying to find happiness in the little things will be the key factor of all of her journeys throughout the episodes of the first season. Auction day. ENA tries to spoil herself in buying a little something, and maybe, like the auctioneer says,
"Yeah! All your existential troubles will go away soon, okay?"
Because who doesn't find joy in buying things every now and then? Extinction party. She tries to spend some time with her friend, give something to someone she likes, who doesn't enjoy the company of their homies. Finally, in Temptation Stairway, ENA reaches the Great Runas and achieves what she's been looking for. Her blue side disappears and only happiness remains, finishing Season 1. It's no doubt that ENA is an amalgamation of old internet nostalgia, games and media, and among all the theories about who ENA is and the symbolism of it all, I think this series is simply about someone trying to be happy, someone trying to find a purpose. We accompany ENA struggling with her occasional mental breakdowns, trying to do as the therapist said and take the most of the small moments, until, at long last, she reaches the happiness state she has been looking for. We can go even further and add the internet twist to all of this and say that ENA is a net user, trying to do things other people find interesting, consuming media they like, and trying to find purpose on the overwhelming and weird world that is the web. To conclude, I think ENA is an amazing, weird and artsy series that mixes a bunch of cool world and internet references, interesting characters with honestly very cool designs too. Even though a lot of times you are struggling to understand what is going on, it's still very entertaining and actually made me laugh sometimes. I think I talked about the most obvious theories there, however I'll go deeper into the world and everything else in the video about the game I'm making, because it explains more about the world and opens windows to some interesting things. Also, if you haven't already, I really recommend you to watch the episodes of the series for yourself and comment down below what you think about it and your own theories. Thank you so much for watching, bye bye.